back with some more Nightwish, now Endless Forms Most Beautiful. You guys have suggested that one, and I also chose it because, you know, it is that little piece of a phrase that is in at the end of Charles Darwin's book on the origin of species, Endless Forms Most Beautiful, which is also the name of the album where this came from, and also The Greatest Show on Earth was also from the same album from 2015, apparently. Some of you have mentioned it was the first album that was composed with Floor Jansen's vocal abilities in mind, and she sure has great vocal abilities. So let's see, this is an official lyric video from the Nightwish channel. Let's see what they do.
From so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful have been and are being evolved.
There's Dawkins again. Kind of like action movie rhythm there. Lots of machinery and clockwork stuff. I think that's a reference to The Blind Watchmaker, which is one of Dawkins' books, and it all comes back to the 19th century when people who criticized the theory of evolution said that, you know, a watch needs a watchmaker, so there should be someone who creates it. It couldn't evolve by itself, but it's too complex. And people sometimes still use that excuse 150 years later, but I guess they're referring to that with all the clockwork and machinery images. Ancestor's Tale. Mother Pine. Eyes. If you haven't seen that animal, it is a very curious one. They are our distant relatives. They are they're not primates, or it depends on the classification. These things change over time. So some classifications have them as primates. They're kind of like quote unquote primitive primates. They derived, you know, they separated from our lineage long ago, and they have very strange face and very strange fingers. Take a look at that. The grandeur. It's also in Darwin's book. Pale Blue Arc, I guess that's another reference to Carl Sagan in this case, because he has a book called Pale Blue Dot, which, you know, is the Earth. That was inspired by a photograph of the Earth taken from Saturn by, I don't remember if it was Voyager 1 or 2. I'll check it out. But it was the last picture it took. Like, they turned the ship back, and they did it on purpose, turned it back and took a picture of the Earth on a sunbeam. It was a beam of light of the sun, and it looked like a speck of dust, which they also mentioned here in the lyrics, a little blue dot. And Sagan says, you know, every dictator, every empire, every love, everything that humanity has ever experienced happened in that tiny speck of dust suspended in a beam of light, something like that. So they're referring to that here, I believe. Oh, that's us. Now there's a bunch of biological references here. It's more my forte, I would say. So it talked about the shrew who survived. Shrews are little mammals, insect-eating mammals, and when the big meteor hit the Earth 65 million years ago or so, the dinosaurs were extinct, most of them, except for the avian dinosaurs, the birds. And the tiny mammals and the small animals were able to survive the nuclear winter kind of thing, the long time years with cloud cover and, lower temperatures. It was, terrible. And the little shrew that survived gave rise to most mammals that we have. The mammals were a small group at the time of the dinosaurs because there was big competition. They were the dominant life form. And with them extinct, we had space to grow. And then they talk about Tiktaalik. You might have heard of that. It is one of the first animals to climb out of the sea to get on Earth. That was discovered in Canada somewhere, in the areas of the Inuit, the Eskimos. And this name is an Inuit word, Tiktaalik. I don't remember what it means, but it is a word from them. And also talking about the birth of flight. Of course, the first animals to walk and then the first animals to fly. Insects were the first animals to fly, but then birds and mammals also took flight, and reptiles took flight later. So in the chorus again, they mention a word that most of you might not know unless you're a biologist or in the sciences, maybe, eukaryote. That funny word means cells that have a nucleus, mainly. We usually also have mitochondria and other organelles. You might remember that from high school or maybe even from college, depending on what you majored in. But if you only went to high school, you did hear about eukaryotes, maybe not with that name, but you have bacteria, which don't have nucleus, don't have, organelles, enclosed in membranes, and then you have eukaryotes, which are us. That was a big jump that, allowed life to get much more complex. We spent like 2 billion years, more or less, if I remember correctly, as prokaryotes, which are the ones without nucleus, and then suddenly eukaryotes appeared and quickly diversified and spread. Look at yourself. It is a relative. Nice and heavy. This is a real voice choir or keyboard? Nice piano. It's burning. Nice break. Beautiful indeed. Very nice. Pale blue arc. Here we are. Yes, also a little biblical reference, ark, where all the animals went in the, Judeo-Christian mythology. So we are on our big pale blue arc. Very nice song. I liked it. It's very grandiose, as Nightwish usually is, with all the symphonic elements, and it's very heavy as well. Floor's voice is beautiful, of course. She has great range of all kinds of singing, and yeah, very cool. A few, not as many scientific references as in the Greatest Show on Earth, but yeah, this one started also with a little bit of Dawkins reading there, and it had a sprinkling of biology here and there. So of course I enjoyed it. I hope you liked it as well. Leave your comments there with more suggestions, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.